This was a fun kayak camping trip, but this video sucks. In fact, I've been sitting on this footage for months trying to figure out how to work it into a video. Why? Let me explain. Let's start with the intro that I filmed.
Hey, I'm Jay, and over the next 2 days, I'm going to do 7 miles.
Traffic noise. That's what you want when you sit down to watch a nice, relaxing camping video, right? The sound of an F-150 crossing a bridge? Yeah, let's scrap that intro. That leaves us with the 3 main sections of this trip. The paddle to the camp, camping, and the paddle to the takeout.
Yep.
Okay. Let's start at the beginning. For this trip, I was paddling on the Scioto River in central Ohio. On day 1, I would paddle 2.5 miles south to my campsite. It's a pretty paddle for sure, and the conditions were nice. But the footage sucks because of a mistake I made in filming, and it's wearing my GoPro in the head mount. That's a problem because as I paddled the kayak, my head moved around, and so the camera moves around. As I cast my fishing lure, same thing. So that's problem 1, shaky footage. I hope you don't puke. Problem 2, it's pretty, like I said, but it's also kind of a green tunnel. What I mean is it's kind of the same scenery for the entire paddle, so I really don't have much variety in scenery to show you.
Oh look, another tree.
Problem 3, I love to fish, and I envisioned catching tons of fish on this trip, and making that a feature of the video. Despite fishing for the entire paddle to the campsite, I got 0 bites. Total fishing failure. Problem 4, my own ineptitude. Perhaps the best example of this is when I lost my paddle. Roll footage.
I'm trying to just get over this little obstacle. I dropped my paddle into the river, so I'm just gonna try to get in here and float and see if I can catch up to it. I can see my paddle. Kind of like paddling with my hands, to be honest. I did that all on purpose to just demonstrate what you do in that type of situation. See this right here? My paddle leash. Let's keep that on from now on.
Let's recap. The footage is shaky, lacks variety in scenery, contains 0 fish, and is marked by my own ineptitude. The conclusion? This video sucks. But again, I enjoyed the paddle.
Alright, I see a red flag up here, which I believe is the marker for the takeout. None of this is going to be graceful, people. It's going to be slow and deliberate so that I don't break my ankle. Yeah, it's not far. Site 5. It's time for a sit and some water.
This is the part of the trip I had the least problems with in terms of the video footage. The only real gripes I have are, first, the shirt I'm wearing here makes me look even fatter than I am, and 2, there's a fair amount of traffic noise. Otherwise, I'm just going to let this part roll. I got to get the tent up before I lose all my light. So let's do that. Today we're camping with the OneTigris Backwoods Bungalow. It's a fun tent. Let's get it going. Here it is. It is I think it's technically a 2-person tent, and we're gonna pitch it with trekking poles. Sweet. It's not supposed to rain, but when you have a sweet porch like this, you almost wish it was. A couple pieces of fat wood here that I brought with me. That'll get her going. It's the old log cabin. We got some special edition Peak Refuel here. Steve Ranella, my man. American Buffalo Barbecue Mac and Cheese. This is made with ground bison. Excited to give it a try. 8 ounces of boiling water. We're boiling. Give that a nice stir. See you on the other side. Rehydration complete. It's never going to look very pretty, right? But let's see how it tastes. Okay. Bison has a really good flavor. I could use maybe like a little bit of more sharp cheese in there. Maybe a dash of salt and pepper, but it's good. It has a really good consistency. Very flavorful. Like I said, the bison tastes really good. Noodles are rehydrated well. Yeah, just could use a little more seasoning, and I'm always a sucker for more cheese, but otherwise, it's good. I like it. I'm just sitting here by the fire enjoying the warmth and the sounds of the woods, and I'm gonna go into the tent pretty soon. Planning to get up pretty early tomorrow for breakfast, coffee, and then getting back on the river. And the goal is to not get skunked for the trip. So I've got a spot tomorrow that I think is gonna be productive, where a tributary comes into the Scioto River, and I'm gonna fish there at the tributary. I might go up that creek a little bit. I am thinking that I probably will just refuse to leave the river until I catch a fish. My son's got a soccer game at 3, so that could be problematic. But yeah, gonna get on the river tomorrow. I have 4.5 miles to do. Gonna try to catch a fish, and we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna get in to bed, and I'll see you in the morning.
Good morning.
breakfast this morning is going to be the Mountain House Biscuits and Gravy. This is my single favorite backpacking breakfast. So I've got the little esbit stove with me. Let's get this water heating up. So while I was rehydrating the Mountain House and making the coffee, I pretty much got camp all packed up. I've got some odds and ends to put in the pack still, but I'm gonna drink this coffee and then we're gonna get back on the trail and back in the water soon enough. Packed up, cleaned up, ready to go.
We're recording. We are live from Jay's head.
I was joined on day 2 by a friend, codename Donut King. He would paddle the remaining 5.5 miles with me and help me get back to my car at the put-in.
Woo!
Let's get to the problems with our day 2 footage. First, the scenery continues to be monotonous. One highlight is this little waterfall. Downside is the outflow from a sewage treatment plant.
This is definitely the river in the region that I would least like to fall into.
Because of the wastewater?
Yeah, and just, you know, it's the collecting basin for all the other rivers and trash and bodily fluids of a major metropolitan area.
Second problem, more fishing failure. Although I would eventually get out of my kayak at the confluence of Big Walnut Creek and the Scioto River and finally find some success.
I've done it. I have the skunk off the boat. Technically, this fish came out of Big Walnut Creek, not the Scioto River. But we'll take it.
Big thanks to this little spotted bass for saving the day. The final reason this day 2 footage sucks? Let's revisit my ineptitude. There was the time I sprayed my GoPro with sunscreen and thus made the rest of my footage cloudy. And there was the great job I did navigating this sweeper flying across the river.
Try to grab onto something.
All right.
You all right?
Yep.
Okay. How you planned it?
Mm-hmm. Once I got in that current, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get over.
I should have just done what you did, but I tried to go around it. I almost went it sideways.
This nice little skinny river.
Despite the downsides of this trip and the footage I captured, I really did have a great time. There's something to be said for laughing at yourself, learning from your mistakes, and moving on to the next trip. We'll see you on the next one.